Good day, everyone. My topic will be the reasons and impartiality as the requirements for ethics. So before we go further to the discussion proper, let us know what are the learning objectives for this topic. First is to be able to define reason and impartiality. Second, to know the 7-step moral reasoning model. Third is to be able to apply the 7-step moral reasoning model in various settings. So, let us first know what is reason. Reason is the basis or motive for an action, decision, or conviction. As a quality, it refers to the capacity for logical, rational, and analytic thought, for consciously making sense of things, establishing and verifying facts, applying common sense and logic, and justifying, and if necessary, changing practices, institutions, and beliefs based on existing or new existing information. According to Rachels in the year 2018, the minimum conception of morality is the effort to guide one's conduct by reason, that is, to do what there are the best reasons for doing while giving equal weight to the interests of each individual affected by one's decision. Next, let's define what is impartiality. Impartiality, or the fair-mindedness, is a principle of justice, holding that decisions should be based on objective criteria rather than basis of bias, self-interest, prejudice, or pretending the benefit to one person over another for improper reasons. The best example for being impartial is the tagline ng GMA News, which is the walang kinikilingan, walang pinoprotektahan, walang kasinungalingan, serbisyo totoo lamang. So that is you being impartial.
Reason and impartiality are considered as minimum requirement for morality. Moral truths are truths of reason. That is, a moral judgment is true if it is espoused by better reasons than the alternatives. Genuine value judgments ought to be backed up by pertinent reasons.
Model of Scott Ray in the year 2009, which are the gather the facts and information, determine the ethical issues, determine the virtues or principles which has bearing the situation, list the alternativeness, compare the alternativeness with principles, consider the consequences, and lastly is to make a decision. So now, I will be reading a situation, and after that we will be applying the 7 steps of moral reasoning. Here's the situation. Andrew confessed to Father Santino that he raped 7 minor girls 10 years ago, when he was still working as a seaman abroad, and that he was able to escape criminal liability there because everybody thought that he is already dead when their ship wrecked in the oceans of Antarctica. Meanwhile, he is presently the gardener of Villarosa family in Isabela. The Villarosa is a family which is very close to the priest. Andrew also mentioned that though he is already a renewed man, there are times that he feels sexually tempted to the youngest daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Villarosa. He also asked the priest not to tell anything to the Villarosa family and promised the priest that he will keep in touch with him, especially at times that he feels tempted. Let us now apply the 7 steps of moral reasoning. Now let's gather the facts. Andrew raped the 7 minor girls. He escaped criminal liability. Everybody thought he was dead. He now works as a gardener of the Villarosa family, a family who is very close to Father Santino. He feels sexually tempted to the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Villarosa. Next is we will determine the ethical issue. So as you notice, we put verses there because Father Santino is facing a dilemma. So he needs to choose between these two. Next is we will determine the principles which has bearing in the situation. So these are the following. So, the following are the alternatives. Now, we will be comparing the alternatives with the principles. Next is, we will consider the consequences. It is based on the alternatives. Lastly is to make a decision. So what would be Father Santino's decision? Or the better question would be, if you were Father Santino, what would you do? Takeaways is that our conduct must be guided with reasons, but not just reasons, but the best reasons we can have. And we should also give way of the interests of the other people. In coming up with a decision, we should also consider others. We should consider what they feel and what consequences it will have for them. And when making up decision, we must be impartial. Why? Because in order for us to arrive to the right moral judgment,